Hey guys, just freaking out here because I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but Jesus, they've crucified him, and oh, I guess I should say who I am. My name's Peter, and we came into Jerusalem here a week ago or so, and we were hanging out where it's Passover time, it's celebration time. All the Jews are coming into Jerusalem to celebrate, and Jesus came in a couple days ago. They just kind of ushered him into Jerusalem. They were putting their cloaks down and their palm branches down, and he was riding in on a donkey's colt, and we're all thinking, this is awesome. We're going to have this revolution. Jesus going to be the king of the Jews. And we had our Last Supper together the other night, and we all sat together, and we broke bread together and had wine together, and Jesus was, of all things, washing our feet, which was kind of weird. But then after we were done, we left, and we, it's late. It's late at night. We're heading out. We're going down to the Garden of Gethsemane there, where we often go to hang out at night and chill, alone, because Jesus likes being alone often, and because crowds followed him everywhere, like hundreds of people follow him everywhere, and so he gets off by himself. And tonight was nothing different. We were going down to the garden, and so he seemed different. He seemed like he was heavy, troubled in some way, and he said he's going to go off to pray, and he told us to pray so that we don't fall into temptation. Like, I'm not sure what he was talking about, but we fell asleep. We were tired. It's late. It's like after midnight, and I don't know. So early morning hours, we're done, and we're leaving the garden, and all of a sudden this whole multitude of people, like from the chief priests and the Sadducees and Pharisees, all the religious leaders, the guards, came down. They had swords and clubs, and they were coming down to the garden, and there's Judas, and Judas comes up and he kisses Jesus, and then I'm thinking, this is it. They're coming to take Jesus, and so, he's going to be our king. He's going to be, and I got the sword on, and I'm like, so I pull my sword and I cut one of the guards' heads, the ear off of his head. And Jesus, I'm thinking, this is it. We're going to war. We're going to have a revolution. We're going to become a nation again. And Jesus is going to lead us. And then he turns to me and he says, no, Peter, just relax. Put the sword away. Like you don't need to do it this way. This is not how it works. And I'm like, come on, like, we're ready to go. I'm here. I told you I'm willing to give my life for you and die for you. Go to war. And he said, no, this isn't how we do it, Peter. And so I put my sword away, and then he reaches out and he touches the soldier's ear, and suddenly he's healed and everything's good. And then they take him away, and so they take him, and they take him to the chief priest's house, and he's in the courtyard, and John, being John, he knows people, right? So he's able to get right in where he is, and then he sends somebody out and lets me in. So I get in, and they got fires going because it's cold, and I'm sitting there by the fire warming myself, and somebody says, aren't you the one that was with Jesus? And I said, no, I don't know who he is. I don't know who Jesus is. I just got here, and I've seen all the excitement. I'm just here. And I moved away and got into another fire. There's all these fires going around. And all these people, and they're taking Jesus up there, and they're yelling at him and screaming at him and calling him names and making fun of him. And then in the early morning hours, this kind of goes on for a couple hours. And then when the sun's coming up, they take him to Pilate. And Pilate, all the details with that, but they whipped him. They whipped him with a whip that is like brutal. They stripped him naked, and they were lashing him with this thing, and the blood was running. And this is Jesus. This is the guy that was supposed to be the king of the Jews. He was supposed to, that's what they were yelling at him. Like, here's your king of the Jews. If you've saved other people, how can you not save yourself? And he said nothing. He didn't say anything in return. He just took it all in. I thought this was the guy. I thought we're gonna have a king and we're gonna follow him, but now they're beating him, and they're gonna they're gonna kill him. And so they go through all this process, and Pilate comes out and he released them to the Jewish people, to the Jewish leadership, the religious leaders, and they just kept screaming, "Crucify him, crucify him, crucify him." And he didn't say anything. And so they made him carry his own cross, and they made him walk up the hill, and he couldn't hardly do it. He had lost so much blood. I mean, if I wouldn't have known who he was, I wouldn't have been able to recognize who he was. He was that beat up, and his face was bleeding, his back, his ribs were exposed. It is amazing that he's even alive. And they took him up there, and then they flopped him down on that cross, and they took nails, and they hammered the nails through his hands and through his feet, and they put the cross up, and they had a thief on each side of him, and they crucified him. They killed our King. And so here I am. It's Friday night, and I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Everything that I dreamed of to be true has come to an end, has come to all good things come to an end, they say. And I guess now what am I going to do now? You know, this was supposed to be the Messiah. He claimed to be the Son of God. He claimed that he was going to bring his kingdom, and his kingdom would be established. And there was a time when James and John, they were just debating who's going to sit on his left and who's going to sit on his right. And no, I'm fine. I don't have to sit at right or left. No, I'll go to war. I'll wear the sword. I'm Peter. I'm the impulsive one. But those were dreams. And those were things that we thought were going to come to be, and now I don't even know. Like, now it's Friday night, the sun's going down. Like a couple hours ago, when he died on that cross, when he was up there, and he just kind of drops down and couldn't take another breath, and he died. Everything went black, like the sky was covered over, and it was dark and creepy and weird. And I left because I was like, I gotta go hide, because if they're taking him, they're crucifying him, and he's not standing up for being the king, and he's not calling us in. I thought maybe there's gonna be a miracle, like he's gonna come off the cross, or he let out a war cry of a shout and say, "Come on, those who are for me, come and let's do something." But he didn't say anything. He didn't respond. He just took it. And this is, looking back, 3 years we followed this man. 3 years we dedicated to following Jesus because we believed what he said to be true, and we saw the miracles. He fed 5,000 people with a little bit of food. Like, he multiplied food. Blind eyes were seeing, deaf were hearing, the lame were walking, the dead were being raised, and now the one who raised the dead is dead. And I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to just go back to fishing and forget this ever happened? I'm still glad I had those 3 years, because, man, I've never seen anything like it. I think of all the stories I've heard from my parents and that have been passed down from our ancestors about Moses. And I think of all the stories of the Israelites, the big men who led the children of Israel in so many different ways. And I thought we were going to be a part of this. This is going to be a new thing that I can experience with my own eyes, that we are going to have a king. We're going to be free from the Roman Empire. And now the Roman Empire has put him to death. And our religious leaders are rejoicing and celebrating because he's dead and he's gone. And I'm left broken. And I don't know if I should be angry or if I should be crying. I've had all these emotions that are going on in my heart, going, okay, why did he tell us to follow him in the first place? Only to go to be crucified by the Romans and die this awful death. For what? To leave us here with this reputation, with this story to tell, that the one that we thought was going to be the Savior of Israel is dead. Anyway, I just wanted to send out a message and just let you know that we're in hiding at the moment. We're not sure what's going to be next. We know that Jesus is dead. He's been buried. He's in the grave of some Joseph guy that is rich and has an empty tomb that was never been used, and they put Jesus in there. And so we're just going to hang out for the weekend, and probably after this weekend's over, we hope everything just kind of dies away and people forget, and we can go on with life, and we'll try to figure something out. But I thought I should send this out and just let you know that we're lost. We don't know what to do. We don't know what's next. And we don't understand. Jesus promised us so many things, and from what we understood, this is the opposite. Like, this is not what we expected. And we don't know what to do. And so we're just going to hang out. John, he was there. I saw him from a distance. I didn't go close, but John was right up by the cross. And we're going to have to get together and talk about that. But I stayed away because people recognized me, and I don't want to go to prison right now because I don't know. Like, I was willing to give my life for him. If he was going to be the king, I was going to go to war and a battle, but he's dead. Now, how can I give my life to someone who just offers himself up without a word? So I can't. I'm just gonna go my way. Maybe hopefully after the weekend's done, we can just kind of split up and disappear into the crowds as everybody's leaving after this whole weekend of Passover celebration. There's going to be lots of people leaving the city, and we'll just kind of go with the crowds and disappear. And so before we go, though, I'm going to try to send out a message after the Sabbath. And I'll just let you know how we've wrapped up, and I'll just see what the other guys have to say when we get back together, and I'll let you know what we're going to do or where we might be headed. But I just thought you should know. And I don't know if I should apologize for being deceived and following a guy that I thought was going to be the king of the Jews, or if I should just cry and weep and mourn a passing of a great friend and a great man of God, a prophet, but Son of God. I don't know. I don't see it. It doesn't look like anything that would resemble the Son of God. Like, he's dead. He's gone. And although he raised people from the dead, now he himself is dead, and he didn't save himself. He didn't save us. He didn't ask us to engage in any kind of revolution or takeover of the Roman Empire. He told us to put our swords away and do nothing. Jesus was a very good man. He lived a life that none of us could live. He was full of love for people. He reached out to those who were broken. He invited sinners to come and follow him. I think of Matthew, a fellow follower, that, when he first said, let's go to Matthew's house, I was like, what are you doing? He's a tax collector, a sinner. And then he had a party, and Jesus loved them. So he was a representation of love. Everything he did was to touch people's lives, and we saw something special in him. But tonight, he's dead. And I thought you should know that Jesus of Nazareth, this rabbi, this teacher who called us friends, is dead. He's been murdered, crucified on a cross like a common thief. And for doing what? For loving people, for healing people, for bringing hope to people that were in a hopeless situation. I don't know. I'm just really, I have to process. This is just so much to take in one day. It's been a hard, long day. And so I will leave it with you for now. Be well, be safe, and I'll be in touch as soon as I feel safe to do so.